Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really focusing on something critical for pretty much everyone right now, how to build an anti-fragile career.
hmm
I mean, you look at the numbers, right? The average job tenure is down to just 4.2 years. That's not very long.
No, it's really not. And then you layer on that Harvard Business School research,
Yeah,
the one saying, what, 50% of current jobs gone or totally changed in the next 10 years.
exactly. So you just can't afford to sit back and, hope for the best anymore. Passivity is risky.
Definitely.
So our mission today really is to give you a systematic way, a kind of roadmap for building what we're calling a strategic learning portfolio.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about just like collecting random online course certificates or badges. This is about positioning yourself so that when disruption hits, and it will,
Yeah.
you actually stand to profit from it, not just, survive.
That's precisely the idea behind this anti-fragile skill stack concept. It's interesting. A lot of really talented people get caught in what we sometimes call the single skill trap.
Single skill trap. Okay.
Yeah, they're absolutely brilliant at one specific thing. But, well, what happens if that one thing gets commoditized? Or, more likely these days, software just starts doing that task. Suddenly, they're completely exposed.
Right. Left high and dry.
But the strategic learners, the ones building these complementary skill combinations, they're setting themselves up to actually benefit when the market shifts. It's a different mindset.
That's fascinating because, we hear so much about specializing, becoming the absolute best at one thing, but the data seems to point somewhere else.
It really does. I mean, there's research on these combinatorial advantages. It found that professionals who built these strategic skill mixes, they earned, on average, 23% more than the deep specialists.
23%.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
It's a massive premium. And that's just the money side. Maybe even more importantly, they were also 45% less likely to be displaced, by automation or big economic changes.
Wow. Okay, so that really begs the question then,
Yeah.
why? Why is combining skills so much more powerful than just being like a world-class expert in one single area?
Yeah, that's the key question, isn't it?
It is.
And it really comes down to rarity. Think about it. The value isn't usually in any one individual skill anymore. Like being good with Excel. That's pretty common, pretty standard.
Sure, table stakes, almost.
Exactly. The real value, the premium, comes from combining skills that are valuable on their own, sure, but are rare when found together in one person. Suddenly, you're the person in the room who can connect dots others can't. That makes you uniquely valuable and, frankly, much harder to replace.
Okay, so if we're buying into this idea that the combination is where the magic happens, we need some kind of structure, right? We can't just randomly start signing up for courses on, I don't know, pottery and Python.
Right, exactly. No random skill collecting. That's kind of the old way. We need to move towards building this learning portfolio systematically.
And the research we looked at offers a pretty brilliant framework for that, doesn't it? With 4 specific categories.
Yes, a 4-category strategy. The whole point of this framework is to make sure your learning efforts, your investments of time, and maybe money, are strategically multiplying your value, not just, adding another line item to your resume.
Okay, let's break it down then. Category 1, the base layer. What are foundation skills?
So think of foundation skills as basically the cost of entry for your field. They're what establish your credibility, your core expertise.
Okay.
They're sort of the non-negotiable ticket you need just to play the game in your chosen domain.
Yeah.
So for Maria, we'll talk more about her. She's our case study. She was marketing manager.
Right.
So her foundation was things like traditional marketing strategy, brand development, campaign management. You have to keep this base strong because without that core domain expertise, any other skills you add kind of lack context.
Yeah.
They don't have the same impact.
Got it. So maintain the core. Once we have that solid, credible foundation, what's the next layer? That brings us to category 2, multiplier skills.
Yes, multiplier skills. I like to think of these as force multipliers. They're capabilities that amplify your foundation. They give it leverage.
They make the foundation work harder, essentially.
Precisely. They make your foundation exponentially more effective. Now, high-value examples often do involve things like data analysis and interpretation, maybe some basic coding or automation skills.
The tech stuff.
Often, yeah. But they don't have to be purely technical. We also see huge leverage from things like really strong communication and presentation skills, good project management abilities, or even solid financial literacy, understanding the numbers.
That's a really important point. What if, say, my foundation is something like communications or leadership? And honestly, the idea of learning Python just fills me with dread.
Huh. Yeah, fair enough.
Are there other options, non-technical multiplier skills, that still give you that leverage?
Oh, absolutely. The goal isn't everyone must code. The goal is to find the multiplier that provides maximum leverage for your specific foundation,
Hmm.
your domain. So for Maria, being in marketing, adding data analysis, getting comfortable with Google Analytics, learning some basic SQL, that was a perfect multiplier for her.
Right, it connected directly.
Exactly. But if your foundation was, say, client management, a high-value multiplier might be advanced project management skills. That lets you handle bigger, more complex client projects. Or maybe it's specialized financial modeling so you can, speak the CFO's language in the executive suite. It's context dependent.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's about relevance, not just tech for tech's sake. Now, category 3 sounds interesting. Bridge skills. Domain connectors? This feels like where you start breaking out of your functional silo.
That's exactly what they do. Bridge skills are critical for building influence across the organization. They let you understand and work effectively with people in adjacent departments or business areas.
So you can see the bigger picture.
Right. And crucially, you can connect your work to the company's bigger goals, often revenue goals. Maria, for instance, realized she needed to connect marketing spend to actual revenue outcomes.
Ah, the classic marketing sales alignment challenge.
Precisely. So she invested in learning basic sales processes, understanding their CRM, learning key customer success metrics. This meant her marketing efforts weren't just judged on vanity metrics like clicks or likes anymore.
They were judged on real business impact. Qualified leads, customer lifetime value.
Exactly. It changed the conversation about marketing's contribution.
Okay, that's powerful. And finally, category 4, the insurance policy, as you called it, future-proof skills.
Yes, these are the skills that actually become more valuable as routine tasks get automated all around them.
How so?
Well, these tend to be the capabilities where human judgment, creativity, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, where those uniquely human things still have a massive edge and likely always will.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Think high-level strategic thinking, not just executing a plan, but developing it. Complex problem solving, where the data is incomplete or ambiguous. Emotional intelligence, building trust, managing conflict, leading teams effectively, relationship building, and a big one, navigating ethical gray areas, making judgment calls in complex situations.
Things that are really hard, maybe impossible to code.
Exactly. The more AI and automation handle the routine, predictable stuff, the higher the premium the market will place on these uniquely human insights and abilities.
Right, and again, you're saying the real power comes from combining these, that 1 + 1 of 3 effect. Maria had marketing skills. Okay, that's her foundation. She added data analysis, a multiplier. She added sales understanding, a bridge skill.
Individually, maybe somewhat common skills,
Yeah.
but put them together in one person.
Suddenly, she's not just another marketer.
No, she became this optimized, revenue-aligned marketing strategist, maybe even a marketing technologist, someone who bridges marketing data and sales. That specific combination was rare, and that rarity is what made her so valuable.
And that specific combination, that strategy, is what really changed her career path over, 18 months?
Yeah, about 18 months. Her story is a fantastic case study, really, for how you move this from just, good ideas on paper to actual execution and results.
Okay, let's walk through that. Because it wasn't just her deciding one day to, sign up for a Coursera course, was it? It sounds like it was much more deliberate.
Oh, highly systematic, very deliberate. Her first step, let's call it phase 1, was a really honest skill audit and market analysis.
Okay, looking inwards and outwards.
Exactly. Maria looked at her strength. She knew she was strong in traditional brand strategy, but also her weaknesses. She identified data analysis as a major gap. Then she looked outwards at the market, at job descriptions, at industry trends. She saw this growing demand from marketing technologists.
Ah, so she saw the gap between her current skills and where the market was heading.
Precisely. That analysis gave her a clear target, which led to phase 2, her strategic learning plan.
This is where she picked the specific skills.
Right, but not randomly. Based on the audit, she defined specific, measurable targets. Things like learn basic SQL, get proficient in Google Analytics. Those were her multiplier skills. Take a course on sales processes and CRM basics, her bridge skill. And she also enrolled in some leadership workshops targeting a future-proof skill.
Specific and actionable, not just get better at data.
Exactly. Very targeted. Now, phase 3 is often where people stumble. Application and integration.
Right. You learn the skill, you get the certificate, but then Does it actually get used? Does it change anything? How do we make sure we actually apply it?
That is the critical failure point for many people. Maria succeeded because she was ruthless about applying the skills immediately and documenting the value created
Ah, okay. So she didn't just learn SQL, she used it.
immediately.
Yeah.
She took her new data analysis skills and applied them to optimize the marketing campaign she was already running. And crucially, she tracked the results. She could show, with data, my application of this skill led to a 40% better ROI on this budget within 6 months.
Wow. Okay. So the skill wasn't truly valuable until it generated a measurable business result.
You got it. The focus has to be on application and demonstrable value creation.
And the results for Maria. The payoff for all that systematic effort.
Pretty significant. After those 18 months, her salary jumped 27%. Went from $75,000 to $95,000.
Nice.
She landed a promotion to marketing operations manager. And maybe most importantly for the long term, she successfully repositioned herself in the job market as a marketing technologist, a role that's high growth and, frankly, much less vulnerable to automation than traditional marketing roles.
That story really highlights the power of being intentional, but it also brings up a timing question. When should we actually invest the time to learn these things? Should we wait until our boss tells us we need to learn, say, a new software platform, or should we try to learn things before they're explicitly required?
That's a great question. And relying only on just-in-time learning, waiting until it's required, can be dangerous.
Why dangerous? Because you're always playing catch up.
Exactly. You're constantly reacting to yesterday's needs, not positioning yourself for tomorrow's opportunities. So the strategic approach uses a balance. We recommend roughly a 70-30 split between just-in-time and just-in-case learning.
Okay, so just-in-time learning, the 70%, that's the necessary stuff, the immediate needs.
Yes, that's, the specific software platform your company adopts next quarter, or the management skills you suddenly need because you just got promoted. The big advantage here is guaranteed immediate application. You need these skills right now to do your job effectively.
Right, can't avoid those. But
Yeah.
the real strategic advantage, the stuff that potentially leads to that 23% salary premium we talked about, that comes from the other 30%, the just-in-case learning.
Precisely. This is where you're developing skills in anticipation of future needs, often maybe 12, 18, even 24 months before they become mainstream requirements in your role or industry.
Like Maria learning data analysis before it was a formal part of her job description.
Exactly. She saw the trend, she invested ahead of the curve. That gave her the first mover advantage. It positioned her perfectly for that marketing operations manager role when the company realized they needed someone with that combined skill set. She was ready, others weren't.
Okay, so we're treating skills like an investment portfolio. We need to talk about the return on that investment, the ROI. How did Maria actually calculate that? Does she have a formula?
She did, and it's actually quite straightforward. You need to calculate your total investment first, and crucially, this includes your time.
Right, because time isn't free.
Definitely not. So the formula is basically total investment equals your time investment, estimated hours to get proficient, plus any direct costs, like course fees, books, software, plus your opportunity cost.
Opportunity cost, meaning the value of that time if you'd spent it working or doing something else billable.
Exactly. You calculate that as your time investment in hours multiplied by your approximate hourly value or wage.
Okay, let's put some numbers on it for Maria's data skills investment. What did that look like?
Well, she figured it took her about 120 hours of focused effort to get proficient in the SQL and analytics tools she needed. She factored in her hourly wage at the time for the opportunity cost, added the direct costs for a couple of online courses. Her total investment came out to around $4,700.
Okay, $4,700 total investment. And the return.
The return was directly linked to that promotion and raise. She could attribute at least $10,000 of her $20,000 salary increase directly to those new data capabilities that qualified her for the role.
Wow. So $4,700 invested for a $10,000 annual return, which compounds year after year.
That's a 213% ROI in the very first year. It really drives home the point, doesn't it? Making random, non-strategic learning choices almost looks like a financial liability in comparison.
It absolutely does.
So you have to be, well, almost ruthless in prioritizing what we call high ROI learning. Focus on skills that truly differentiate you, that are directly applicable to generating value or income, and ideally, skills that become more valuable over time as the landscape changes.
And actively avoid the low ROI stuff.
Definitely. Skills that are easily automated, knowledge that gets outdated really quickly, or things that just don't connect to any real-world value proposition. Those are time sinks.
Okay, this leads perfectly into maybe the most critical filter we need. How do we actually know if a skill we're considering is likely to be high ROI and future-proof versus just, trendy right now, but maybe obsolete in 5 years? We need a way to screen potential skills.
We do. And we use something called the automation resistance test. It's a simple but powerful question to ask yourself about any skill you're considering investing in.
Okay, what's the question?
You ask, could AI or sophisticated software realistically perform this specific task or the core function of this skill better, faster, or cheaper than a human within the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so if the honest answer to that is yes.
Then you're potentially investing in a skill with a limited shelf life. It's a high-risk liability, not a long-term asset.
Can you give some examples of skills that might fall into that high-risk category now?
Sure. Things like routine data entry or data cleansing, generating standard reports from templates, handling very basic scripted customer service inquiries. These are prime targets for automation because they're repetitive and predictable.
Got it. So the low-risk skills, the ones that pass the test, the ones we should be targeting for that just-in-case learning, these must be those human premium skills you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. These are the capabilities that rely heavily on uniquely human attributes, things like genuine creativity and innovation, not just pattern recognition, but true novelty.
Okay.
Strategic thinking that involves synthesizing information from diverse sources, making predictions, dealing with ambiguity, going beyond what the current data explicitly says.
And of course,
Those deeply human skills, building real trust and rapport, navigating complex social dynamics, high-level emotional intelligence.
you really can't automate genuine trust, can you? Or navigating a really tricky ethical dilemma with nuance?
Not in any meaningful way, no. So the key assessment when you're looking at a skill is about durability. How long is this capability likely to remain highly valuable? And how genuinely difficult is it for current and foreseeable AI to replicate its core essence? Those are your prime investment targets.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. So bringing it all together, what does this mean for you, the listener, right now? We don't want this just to be an interesting conversation. We want it to be actionable. So we've kind of distilled the next steps into a clear 3-week plan.
Right. Action is key. So week 1, the first step is to do your own honest current skill audit. Map out your foundation skills. But just as importantly, identify which of your current skills might be at high risk of automation based on that test we just discussed. And start thinking about the skills needed for the next role you aspire to.
Okay, week 1 is assessment and identifying risks and future needs. Then week 2.
Week 2 is market trend research. Go beyond your own assessment. Look outwards. What specific combinations of skills foundation plus multiplier plus bridge seem to be commanding those salary premiums or opening doors in your industry right now? Look at job postings for roles you want. Talk to people who are already in those roles. Do some informational interviews.
Get real-world data. Then week 3 is putting it all together.
Yes. Week 3 is develop your strategic learning plan. Based on your audit and research, make some choices. Select maybe one foundation skill you need to deepen or update. Pick 1 or 2. Multiplier skills that will give you the most leverage on your core work. Choose one bridge skill to improve your cross-functional impact, and select one future-proof skill to invest in for the long haul.
Be specific about what proficient looks like for each.
Absolutely. And then once you have that plan, you launch your first 90-day skill sprint.
Okay, a focused burst of effort.
Exactly. Pick one key combination from your plan, maybe the multiplier and bridge skill, and focus intensely on learning and applying them for 90 days. Just like Maria, focus on creating some documented value, however small initially. Then, after 90 days, assess your progress, see what worked, and plan your next sprint. It's iterative.
I love that. It makes it feel manageable. Okay, so here's the final thought we want to leave you with today. The systematic approach we've laid out, it fundamentally reframes learning. It's not about random acts of self-improvement anymore. It's about managing your skills and capabilities with the same seriousness and strategic thinking you'd apply to a high-performing investment portfolio.
That's a great way to put it.
Because your learning choices, the skills you choose to build or let atrophy, are simply too important to your future to be made randomly. Building your capabilities strategically is what creates that anti-fragile career positioning, the kind that doesn't just survive uncertainty and change, but actually gets stronger because of it.
Thank you for watching Life as Startup by Harvard Business School Strategy Series, focusing on skill stack strategy. See you in the next episode.